Can look at the brand new HTC One M8 with Windows, and it was announced today with Verizon Wireless. It goes on sale online in just about a half hour, and you can go to the store tomorrow and actually pick one up for $99 on contract. And you can see here is a gorgeous looking device. It's exactly the same as the Android version. The only difference is this here, the little Windows Phone logo. Other than that though, and of course the operating system, it is exactly the same. So we're looking at a 5-inch display here, 1080p. It's a Gorilla Glass Corning version 3. And you got your boom sound, which is basically just HTC's description for these dual speakers up on the top and bottom here. And so it gives you a nice stereo effect, which would be real ideal for playing video games or of course listening to music. You have a nice 5-megapixel front-facing camera, which is pretty high-end for front-facing these days. Going over to the back here, you of course got the duo camera, so there's actually the main camera there, which is only a 4-megapixel, but before you cringe, make sure you're aware that that's actually an ultra-pixel camera, meaning the pixels are better. It's also give you better performance in low light. We'll actually try that out later. And there's actually a second camera here which helps with focusing and gives you variable effects that you can do in the camera app. You also have this neat little dual LED flash with these two different colors, which helps balance out and give you a better white tone. The phone itself is 90% metal, and it's pretty solid, but it's also nice and thin. And you can see it is very well curved as compared to, say, the Lumia Icon, which is probably its closest competitor on Verizon, is a lot more blocky and certainly thicker. Other than that though, the phones themselves are pretty similar in specs, although you do get a MicroSD card with the HTC One M8. And this also comes with 32 gigs of storage, a Snapdragon 801 CPU at 2.3 gigahertz, that's a quad core. You get 2 gigs of RAM, and everything else on it is pretty solid. No wireless charging available, of course. You can see it ships with Windows Phone 8.1 update, so you do get the ability to create folders. There is no dedicated camera button, so you do need to launch the camera through the app. You can also, of course, put it in the quick menu settings if you'd like to. Launching the camera here, you do have the native default Windows Phone camera, but you can use HTC's customized camera app. It's similar to the Nokia one, but it's definitely much faster and quicker to respond. You can see the auto-focusing there is instant and it just goes on its own. Also, snapping the picture itself is very fast. You can see it pops up right there. It's almost instant. You can also do rapid photos with this if you want. Tapping this menu here brings up a nice menu. You got camera, video, selfie, panorama, and lenses. And so you can go through and change the different aspects of those and the different kinds of settings. You can see here, tapping the little ellipsis gives you customized settings for the camera. So you have your ISO, auto white balance, and different lighting aspects. You have your exposure compensation, auto white balance, and more. You can even do the different kinds of scenes, which are kind of nice. Overall, the camera is actually very, very quick. Let's take a closer look at HTC Blink Feed, which is being brought over from its Android sister device. You can see it's got a double wide tile there, and it flips around to give you live feeds. What is Blink Feed? It is basically a sophisticated RSS reader. It's sort of like Flipboard, but it's made by HTC and it's their own sort of version. So you can go through here and you can bring up all different types of articles. And then of course you can do your own settings, go through text only, full article, choose highlight topics. You can even choose your own categories by going into the settings here and adding more. So there are featured content, there's different categories, and you can even have your Facebook, Twitter, and Google account brought in there. And those images and updates will basically appear into your feed as well. Overall, it's a neat little app. I don't think it'll be a big game changer, but it's great to see it brought over to the HTC One M8 for Windows. Two other neat aspects about the HTC One M8 for Windows is basically Sense TV, which is, we can't really show you, but it is a way to use the phone as an IR remote. So on top of the device here, this is basically one big IR system, so you can use it to control your TV. And using this app, you can set it up with your local cable provider, and what it's going to do is fetch all the content and show you what's playing, and then you can tap on the screen basically to pick the TV show and it'll jump to that channel. So it's a sophisticated remote, and it's great to see it here on the HTC One M8. One of the other unique aspects of the HTC One M8 is the nav bar. On a traditional Windows phone, we're used to having the capacitive keys built into the hardware. However, the nav bar here is all software based. One of the unique aspects too is this down arrow, which for the first time we're now allowed to actually dismiss and hide that bar. And as you see, it's going to give you this little tutorial telling you how to get it back. It's actually really smart and intuitive, and of course you can dismiss that. So now you have a full screen experience. This can be really good for photos. It can be great if you're reading the news, browsing a website, and you like to hide that nav bar. To get it back, you just swipe up and it'll pop back up there, and it's good as before. One of the other unique aspects of the HTC One M8 for Windows is this dot view case. So this was on Android, but now it's available on Windows Phone too. And as you can see here, it's like a mesh screen and it's a full cover. But what makes it really unique is you can double tap it and it'll bring up, say, your clock and your current weather conditions. If you also have notifications, say email or text message, it will show a little envelope here, all without you having to open up the cover and look at the display. So it's sort of like Nokia's Glance, but it's a little more sophisticated with this cover. Now, if Cortana was enabled on this phone, which it's not, you could also just swipe down with your finger and that will launch Cortana directly, and then you can answer or ask her a question and have her do different tasks for you. It's a really neat function. It comes in different colors as well. I believe there's about 5 different ones, and it is extra, but you can also see you have the exposure for the camera. Going over to the back, it's a hard plastic, and it's actually a very thin case, so it doesn't add much in terms of size and weight, but you do get that very good corner protection. Some early reviews of the M8 said it's a great device, but it's also very slippery, so you may really want to consider getting one of these cases for that protection. And let's be honest, this dot view thing is pretty awesome. So there's a quick look at the HTC